So if you think you are really good in what you do, then this video is for you. Now, if you are a Jira admin, and of course, on this channel we talk about Jira, we talk about Atlassian tools. I will share examples. I will give you use cases that are from our field, Jira consultation, Jira administration. Now, if you are a Jira admin and if you think you are really good, then it could be a problem, right? Sometimes when you're too good, it is not always great. So let me, elaborate a bit more. Now, if you're too good in what you do, let us say you are a Jira consultant, you are a Jira admin, you're working in a company, maybe you're working in a corporate where you are responsible for helping others get the most out of Atlassian tools. And if you are someone who is always able to solve problems, so when people reach out to you, or maybe when they raise tickets, when they have some change that needs to be done in Jira, you are that person who will always have some solution, right? So this is one trait or one parameter which you can consider if you think you are really good. The other thing that I want to talk about, the other trait, the other parameter could be that you are able to do your work very quickly. Not only you have a solution for all the problems, but you also are really quick. You are able to deliver really fast, and that is one reason people reach out to you directly, and they expect you to help them. The other parameter could be that you are able to handle the pressure always. Now, I know in corporates, in big companies, in small companies, I think pressure has nothing to do, work pressure has nothing to do with the size of the company. But let us say you're working in an environment where everyone is looking for a solution. Everything needs to be done quickly. Everything needs to be done or expects you to work uh, for long hours, and there is a lot of pressure. So if you're able to handle that pressure, you're always calm, you're always not worried, or you're never worried, then it is one parameter of someone who is really good in what they do. Uh, Another thing is, of course, working long hours. Maybe you work till late night. You also work on weekends. Maybe you are working all the time. And I know people who are always working. You send them a message on a Friday night, Saturday morning, Sunday, they will respond. So it is, of course, not really good, but usually people who are really good in what they are really good in what they do because they have worked hard. They have spent time. They can work for longer hours. Also, one other trait is someone who is always involved in all the discussions. Now, if you are a Jira admin, then maybe you are a lead, maybe you are in that position where you make some decisions, you triage those tickets, but at the same time, people always involve you. In most cases, when people raise tickets, when they have something that needs to be done in Jira, they don't just create tickets, they also want you to be with them in their calls. Maybe the technical leads want to have a discussion with BAs, maybe they want to change a process, maybe they want to have some improvements, some automations, but they don't really want to do it on their own. They want you to be with them in the call so that you can do some kind of solutioning, some kind of technical feasibility straight away, right? So they don't really want to wait for raising a ticket. So you're actually expected in those calls. So these are some traits, some parameters that you can use to define someone who could be really good in what they do. And of course, I'm not talking about their personal character, I'm talking about their work, right? So these are two different things. You can have someone who is really good in what they do, but they are not really a nice person to work with, which is, of course, not really the scope of my video. But I want to focus on those people who are really good or too good Jira admins, too good really Jira consultants, right? Now, we are, of course, talking about these traits, but at the same time, these people who are really good in what they do, who are really good Jira admins, there are, of course, some downsides. there are some disadvantages. So let us go through those disadvantages, and then we'll talk about some possible solutions. Now, first of all, if you're able to deliver quickly, if you always have a solution, if you're able to work long hours, then people will always reach out to you for some ad hoc work. And I've made a video, by the way, on this topic. Avoid doing ad hoc Jira admin work because it is not the right way of doing things. Whenever you're talking about Jira, of course, adding a custom field without thinking or adding some automation, some script, I think it is fine, but in most cases, you should have a process for any change. You should have a process where you should review what the requirement is, the impact that it will have, and also think about the long-term impact, not just the immediate problem that you're trying to solve. So of course, if you're too good in what you do, then people will expect you to do ad hoc work for them because you can, and you have been doing it for them, right? So this is one downside. The other thing is that if you're really good in what you do, and if you're the only one who is like always in charge, always doing all the work, then other people in your team, they will feel bad. It's a very natural thing, and you should always think about the team dynamics and of course the office politics, and you should always think about others. You should always give them opportunity to also show their caliber and also let them grow, right? This is also very important because if you're really good in what you do, if you have the right skills, if you have the right experience, then you should just sit back, let others grow, and let them upskill themselves. So we'll talk about it in a moment. Now, also, if you're really good in what you do, then it can also lead to burnout because you may not realize it. If you are able to work for longer hours, you're able to write those script runner scripts all the time. You have a solution always. Of course, it doesn't really mean that you're doing it easily all the time. Sometimes when you are really good in what you do, you know that you have or you can potentially solve a problem, but the solution itself might not be straightforward always, and you will take it personally, and you will end up maybe working a lot, and that can lead to burnout. And of course, it is not really good for your life in general because you also have to think about taking time off. You also have to think about your personal well-being. So I thought I'll probably mention this. And of course, I'm making this video which is about Jira, but these points are relevant to be honest, anything else, right? Any other you can actually apply these things to any other domain, any other field, right? But of course, because we do stuff in Jira, I'll try to give you some Jira specific examples. Now, because we're talking about being too good, we're talking about doing ad hoc work, and you have that authority to make changes in Jira directly, maybe on production, but in a way you are bypassing a process. So always try to follow the process. It could be a small change, it could be not that difficult task, but if you follow a process, then you will ensure that there is a traceability. There is a track of what all has been done, right? Of course, when you modify a script, when you disable a script, when you change a variable, of course, it is not a big thing. But if you have a traceability, if you have some ticket open in the past, which is of course now closed, but when you have this traceability in Jira in these tickets, then you can always refer back and you can actually use those old tickets. Sometimes people complain that why this automation is not working, and the simple answer could be that yes, it is not working because we disabled it 6 months back. So if you have a ticket, then it will save you in future. Now, if you are of course too good in what you do, if you're doing ad hoc work, if you're bypassing processes, then in a way you're solving immediate problems. But when you solve immediate problems, you think you're doing the right thing, and in most cases it might be the right thing to do. But if you don't think about solving these problems, you might skip, or you might not think about what can go wrong in 6 months, what can go wrong in 1 year from now, right? So yes, try to solve problems, but don't bypass the process, because when you bypass the process, when you do ad hoc work, you can actually cause problems in future, right? Not really immediately. So I thought I'll mention that. Now, of course, we are talking about disadvantages of being too good, but what exactly can you do? Of course, I have few suggestions for you. If you are a Jira admin, then I think you should sit back, let others take control. Of course, it won't be easy. Let others talk to your stakeholders. Let them make decisions. And of course, you as a senior person, as someone who is really good in what you do, you should focus on upskilling others. You should focus on making sure that they grow, as I was talking about. And of course, let them make mistakes. If you let them make mistakes, then of course they will learn. I think there is no other way, a proper way of learning without making mistakes. When they make mistakes, they will learn for life, right? So let them make mistakes. And good thing about Jira is, in almost all the cases, unless there is a data loss, you can always revert, right? So, and of course, if you have a ticket, then you know what you did and what needs to be reverted. And what you should also focus on is focus on becoming a lead or a leader or a coach. And of course, when you talk about your skills, try to have your skills in a transferable format. Maybe create some documents, maybe create some internal processes, maybe create some internal KT articles, so that others can use that knowledge and they can reach out to you if they need help. But overall, your goal should be to help others once you reach that stage in your career and in your life. And of course, when you do that, your team might not be, or your team members might not be fast enough like you, but that is fine. I think in a way it's a good thing. Overall, if you are too good in what you do, if you are too fast in what you do, then you will have problems. I think you have to find the right balance. And I think in most cases, whenever you have tickets, of course, unless you're working on a typical support where you just have to do things. For example, if you have to disable a custom field option, then of course just do it. There is nothing much to think about. I mean, not always, but it is still relatively a straightforward thing. But for everything else, not, when I say everything else, I'm talking about for every little, small or big change, just spend some time on the ticket. And whenever you have a problem to solve, whenever you have a ticket to solve, don't just jump onto it, right? Have a discussion internally. Maybe have regular calls internally with your leaders, with your senior most people, and discuss with them that these are the tickets. What do you think? Should we just solve it, or we should wait for some input? So always spend some time before you act on your tickets, especially in Jira. So yeah, these are some of the points that I wanted to talk about. I hope you can relate. And if you are that someone who is really good in what you do, or if you know someone who is really good in what they do, especially when it comes to Jira administration, then let me know. All right, that is it. That is all I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much. Bye bye.